Let's talk product roadmaps. If you're a product manager at any level, you are working on some of your products, you are supposed to give a roadmap to your leaders, to your customers, to make them understand what is it that your vision is. Product roadmaps are important in product management and in general in the industry for clearly outlining what the next steps are and how is it that you want to take the product forward and make the most out of what you are building. I am going to take you through what is a product roadmap, how is it that you could build it in the next 15-20 minutes, and you can ask any further questions to me on my LinkedIn or YouTube. That's going to help you take to the next level. Now, I call it, trust me, it's not so complicated or difficult because roadmaps, if done in the right way, are probably one of the easiest things that you would get to. But what's actually difficult is the process that's done to get to the product roadmap. And it's a longish process. So you have to keep in mind, you follow the steps correctly so that the product roadmap comes out in the nicest possible way and is easy for people to comprehend as well. I'm going to move on through some of these slides, talk about what is a product roadmap, talk about the steps that are needed to build a product roadmap, and also what's the preface to the product roadmap. That is, what is it that you need to do in the beginning of the process itself to ensure you are able to get to a good product roadmap altogether. Now, this is the only colorful picture probably you're going to see on my PPT over here. And I like using PPTs because it's more visual and people understand that more. It is a living document, a product roadmap. So it is one of those tools which helps you understand the vision, and the product manager is able to talk about how is it that they'll be able to meet the organization goals. A product roadmap is one of the core tools a product manager uses to drive a product successfully to the market and monitor continuous work on its evolution. So right from the pre-planning to it, to actual execution, and then finally reviewing it. So when I was growing up as a professional, there was a thing that I learned very early in my career that was called PDCA, generally used in manufacturing, which was called Plan, Do, Check, Act. So you should plan for it, you should do the task, you should check whether you're doing it right. And then you should also check whether the impact that you were trying to make out of the whole process, whether you were able to do it or not. And then finally act on the feedback as well from what you have checked. So that PDCA cycle applies to anything and everything that you do. And product management is an amalgamation of such simple things. So I always keep saying following the principles in product management is not very difficult. It's just that the processes around it, if you're able to understand them well and execute them well, you'll be a successful product manager. Now, why do we need product roadmaps? And I keep speaking about it that it's there to show your vision, your strategy, to go ahead and give the guidelines or the guidance to the stakeholders on what is it that you're willing to do. So I've broken it down into several steps that I think are the why to building product roadmaps. It's there to build your strategic alignment. Now, obviously, you are talking to your stakeholders who have come back and told you a problem statement. You have started working on that problem statement, and now you want to tell them how is it that you envision what you are building and how far are you going to take it. It's a communication tool to share the product vision. Now again, on the same lines to the previous point that I said, your product vision is something that is derived out of the problem statement that was given to you, and then how it aligns back to the organizational goals, maybe in a year's time, in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time. When I talk about the preface to the product roadmap, you're going to see a few things that come up, which will help you get to your product vision as well. That makes it easier in people's mind to understand why you're putting the product roadmap together. Resource planning. Now, when you have a good product roadmap, you're also able to get to the right amount of resources, the associates, the people who would be working to deliver this product roadmap as well. So if you have a big product and you are looking for Excel-sized features, you are going to work with your engineering teams to get the number of associates and the people who are important. So that is exactly what we are looking for at this moment. We are looking to make sure the resource planning is done correctly. Prioritization framework to guide decision making. Now, there are multiple prioritization frameworks in the market. One of them is the RICE framework. People keep talking about it, reach, impact. You're going to get to all of that, understand through your product management basics, through your product roadmap, how is it that you get to your roadmap correctly, the items within the roadmap. And then prioritize the features so that you know what sequence you're going to go ahead and do. The next piece is stakeholder management. Stakeholder management is another key piece where you are actually telling your stakeholders, which is your business, your engineering teams, your architecture teams, your platform teams, sales, marketing, all of them, that this is how I envision to take things forward. And this is where I'm going to specifically need your help. Cross-functional coordination, again, very similar to stakeholder management, but if you are building a product that requires yeses from multiple areas, it requires yeses from multiple engineering teams as well, so that you're able to build the right thing. To give an example, if you are building a product that requires APIs from another product, or you are embedding, let's say, a search capability within your product, which you are utilizing as a microservice from a different team, they need to align back to your roadmap as well. So cross-functional coordination also becomes important, and that, when included in the product roadmap, gives others the time to think about and plan their resources as well. And then finally, progress tracking, part to my PDCA, plan, do, check, act. You continue to check and you continue to act on your progress as well. So a key piece within the whole product roadmap and the why of it. Now, I keep speaking about building the product roadmap is the easier part. The preface, the number of things that need to be done to get to the product roadmap is the actual key work, in my view. So what is it that you need to have to get to the product roadmap in a nice way, in an easier way? You need to have your organization's mission clearly defined, your vision defined, your long-range plans, that is what the organization is looking to do in the next 3 to 5 years, your annual operating plans, so deriving out of your long-range plans of 3 to 5 years, what is it that you want to achieve in year 1? Based on what you want to achieve in year 1, you're going to derive your OKRs, or the objectives and key results, based on which you are then defining through your OKRs the initiatives that you want to work on, and through those initiatives you're defining the roadmap of those initiatives. Now, this is a 4 or 5 step process. There are multiple stakeholders who are involved at different level. Mission and vision are generally defined by the senior leadership level, who work then with the VPs and the senior directors of the world to define the long range plan. Obviously, there's a lot of execution teams, tactical teams also that work to define the LRPs, and then AOPs are primarily something that happen at the senior director level, and within the organization they work to define those AOPs and also the number of initiatives that will help drive the key metrics through the year. So that's another important piece and preface to your product roadmap. As you define all this, you define the initiatives, you define the OKRs that you're looking to achieve to get to that LRP and the AOP. Then comes the roadmaps. And these roadmaps at that point in time have a flavor of the OKRs that you're looking at, has the numbers and the impacts that you're looking at, and then sequenced out way in which you would want to achieve them to get the maximum possible impact without hampering anything for your stakeholders who might be using something already, or there is something new that might come up that they would want to use. So again, keep this in mind. This preface to product roadmap is key and essential to be successful in building the product roadmaps. Now, what are the steps of building the product roadmap? Product roadmap is, again, a step-by-step process. You can do, ultimately, what's the output of a product roadmap? It is something that you would draw in one of those tools, one of those visualization tools that tells the sequence of events on what is it that you're going to build, right? So in simpler words, that is what a product roadmap is. But it's different from a Gantt chart. And again, people confuse things between a Gantt chart and product roadmap. A Gantt chart is more execution-based thing, more at a tactical level where you understand how you're going to do your sprint, how you're going to do your quarter. And then ultimately it all ties back to your product roadmap, which is a more, at a higher level item than a Gantt chart that tells you how is it that you execute certain things at a lower level. So again, steps for building your product roadmaps: define your product vision and strategy. Now again, in my previous slide, when I was talking about the preface, the mission and vision statements that I was talking about was specifically for your organization. Now we have moved to the next level in talking about the product vision and strategy. Your product vision and strategy should be derived out of the guidelines that have been given to you from the LRP, from the AOP, and then your OKRs have been set accordingly. So it's an important piece to define your product vision and strategy. I'm not going to talk about how we set the product vision and strategy now, but keep in mind, without your product vision and strategy, you will not be able to get to the right roadmap. Gather and prioritize customer feedback. Sometimes the verbatim customer feedback is important. Sometimes looking at the data that the customer has been generating is important. So that customer feedback, doing research is an important piece. And I'm going to talk about all these steps in details in the next few slides as well. Align with the business objectives, identifying key themes or initiatives, feature breakdowns, establishing effort and prioritizing, setting the timelines, creating view for stakeholders, and then review and update. Again, I keep saying this, and maybe I harp on this fact a lot, that a simple thing as plan, do, check, act, and a simple cycle like that is something that you could apply to anything and everything that you do in your regular life. I'm going to move on to the first step and talk about defining your product's vision and strategy. You can clearly articulate your product long-term goal depending on what the organization vision and strategy is. That would help you identify your target market and user personas. Ultimately, the product market fit is the most important thing. And again, even if you are working on external facing products, internal facing products, you need to understand what personas are you building it for. And then you have to outline your unique value proposition. There are multiple tools that you want to build in your organization for which ERPs are already existing. Would you want to buy? Would you want to make? All those questions you're trying to answer, or you would have answered earlier as well. But then if you do not have a unique value proposition, you might generally fail. So this is one of the steps, or one of the first steps that you should have in defining your product vision and strategy. As we move forward, it is about gathering and prioritizing customer feedback. You need to work with the user research teams, the UXR teams, user experience research teams, and conduct user interviews and surveys. As a product manager, you could do it yourselves as well if you have the luxury of getting a UXR team, leverage their help. Analyze usage and support tickets. For existing products, if there are support tickets and you're trying to go and make something new, leverage that. Data is key. Because if you are able to derive certain things or features out of your data, your product is going to strengthen a lot, and the customer appreciation and adoption is going to be much better. So your analysts also come into picture. So you are working with multiple stakeholders at this time to do the right thing. And then finally, you categorize your features into various bunches, and that's going to help you define what your MVP is as well at a later point in time. Align with business objective. Now remember, if you do not go back and align to your vision, mission, LRPs, AOPs, the OKRs, you're failing. You are failing, and you are not even understanding it. You're building it on your roadmap. You are not aligning to the product roadmaps. You will not be able to meet your revenue targets, market expansion plans, and so on and so forth. So try to consider these things. You have to get your buy-in from the executives, because unless and until you have their blessings, you'll not be able to succeed as well. The product will not even see the light of the day. So do that, get the buy-in, understand the business objectives, and then go to product. Again, strategy without execution is nothing. And then execution without aligning back to the strategy also means nothing. So make sure both these things align both ways. Break down themes. Now we were assigning themes to some of those features that we were talking about. You have to list concrete actionable items under each theme. You have to use user stories to frame features, and then include customer facing and internal improvements both. There are a lot of products, if you're working in the B2B world, you are probably going directly to the businesses as well. There are a lot of products that I myself have built for internal users. So you need to understand what is it that's going to add most value for your external and internal customers as well. The buy side and the sell side of it. If you're a product manager who has worked on buy side, sell side, you understand it can not only be about external facing users. If your internal facing users do not adapt to it, it is a failure. So break down your themes well, understand what your themes are. Estimate efforts and prioritize. I spoke about this briefly as well. You have to assess the technical complexity. Now, as a product manager, you can come in with brilliant ideas, which will take a million years to build as well. And a lot of resources. Your associates, the resources that you're going to utilize are not infinite. So keep that in mind. So do the technical complexity assessment, understand the resource requirements, and then see what would be the best for the user to build, and then get the most out of it as well. Impact cannot be created with unlimited resources and a lot of technical complexity. I know if you speak to an engineer, if you speak to an engineering manager, they would nod their head to almost everything and say, yes, we'll be able to achieve it. But what people tend to forget is it's going to take us so much time to do it. A lot of no's are also happening because of the same reason, because people would not be able to achieve it in the specific time. Thus, in make versus buy decisions, it is one of the key things that comes into picture as well. And identify the long-term strategic projects, but you should also keep an eye on the low-hanging fruits or the quick wins. As you get into the quick wins piece, you're also able to show impact much faster. You're able to get to the customers' minds and make them feel, oh, there is something that's happening that is value add for me. So do not stop doing that. Keep looking for the short-term gains as well while you look at the long-term strategic projects. Create a visual representation, very important. Unless and until you're able to put this roadmap back to a Confluence, a product plan, or a AHA, or even a spreadsheet, which I don't like, you will not be able to take it back to your stakeholders and get their buy-in. This visual representation should be easy to read and should include key milestones, because that's going to help people understand that there might be 10 releases to get to the end of this project to build the product. So keep that in mind and keep your stakeholders involved in some of this as well. Share with stakeholders. As you build this visual representation, you need not show all your rough work to your stakeholders, but the output is what you would want to show them. You are trying to build something which is going to be a long-term gain for the organization, for your stakeholders. So sometimes you need to tailor it to meet the audience goals as well. Sometimes people are more visual and they would want to see what they want to see, so tailor it accordingly. Clearly communicate the rationale behind the decisions. A lot of time, what happens is we prioritize something, we have a rationale, but when it comes to paper, the paper does not call out the rationale so very well. So the spiel, the speech behind all of that is very important. Keep that in mind, clearly communicate the rationale, and then be ready to discuss trade-offs and alternatives. I wish there was a world wherein whatever I proposed was agreed upon by the business as well without any problems. There are times that happens and I'm very happy, but I'm also thinking, why did they agree to all my points? But as a good product manager, I'm open to trade-offs, I'm open to alternatives, I'm open to doing things which I do not like, but then they help get to the goals much faster. So I'll be open to that, and I would suggest you stay open to that as well. And then finally, regularly review and update on the progress. So schedule periodic reviews, adjust your product roadmap based on market changes, new data, or shifting priorities, and then keep the stakeholders posted on any significant changes. These are important things because you are planning, doing, checking, and acting. Keep making sure that the relevant stakeholders are always in the game and are doing the right thing. Yeah, that's pretty much about how you build the roadmap. What is it that you do? How is it that you get to the right place? There are more things that would come up. I would suggest you continue to read more about product roadmaps. I'll share some more resources. I will make sure that this video is on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and you could ask me as many questions as you want. Thank you so much for following me. Thank you so much for listening to this as well. All the best, and I'll see you in the next video.